Hello and welcome back to ESA Summer Online. We are raising money for the Timer Fountain. Links to donate and support this incredible cause can be found below the stream. We would also like to thank Kaspersky, Twitch, and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. And now it's time for Set Willy by DigitalDuck, who is joined by some wonderful commentators. So good luck, everyone, and take it away.
Hello, yeah, so as you heard, I'm DigitalDuck. I'm joined by Ruffled Bricks.
Hello, I'm Ruffled Bricks.
And Tiny Tim 78.
Hello there, folks.
So we'll explain everything after the game starts. We'll just jump straight into it. So get ready on that timer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Yep.
GG.
It's a bit early for that. So
I don't believe.
So this is Set Willy. It's the second game in the Miner Willy series. I ran a Manic Miner earlier this year at ESA Together. So in Manic Miner, Willy was exploring a mine shaft, collecting lots of valuable items. And in this game, he's sold them all. He's bought a mansion, thrown a massive party, gotten drunk, fallen asleep in the bath, and left the house a mess. And he wants to go to bed, but Maria won't let him. This is Maria. Because, as we said, the house is a mess, and she wants him to tidy it all up before she'll let him go to bed. That is the entire story behind this game. As you can tell, it's very deep, very philosophical.
It's clearly not the first time it's happened with Maria either.
No,
it?
it's clearly not.
Particularly angry.
It's an everyday occurrence for Willy, I think.
Mm.
So we're going to go straight into one of the hardest rooms in the game.
Yeah, let's hit the ground running. This is the chapel. As you can see, there's the priest over on the right there. He'll be making a few appearances in this game throughout. So the way that Duck is going to do this one is he is going to try and go for a jump over the pink monk there that will save a little bit of time. This is one of those games where there aren't really particularly much in the way of like flashy glitches or stuff like that to save time. It's basically about a lot of well-timed jumps, and we've got another one coming up here in the main stairway to get beyond this this tambourine-looking enemy here.
I messed it up.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm on a slight delay, so yeah, I'm catching this.
I was saying before it started that this part would all go automatic with no problems, and then I instantly mess it up.
The karma gods are out to get you.
Yep.
I would like to point out that this game, you're looking at it and you think, oh, this is easy. It's not,
No.
especially at the speed that Duck is doing it. If you were to do it slower, yes, I mean, it does obviously make it easier, but the amount of precision jumps and things you have to do in this game to go fast is crazy. It really is a very high skill level speedrun.
Yeah, so the kitchen is a very good example of this. So the kitchen isn't a level that is particularly taxing when you do it as part of a normal run, but for speedrun purposes, there's two specific jumps you want to get in there, and if you get those right, which Duck has done, then it means that all of the cycles for all of the other chefs, all of whom are named Andre for some reason, will be out of your way. So you've got a clear run to get past them. But it's two kind of pretty pixel-specific jumps you need to get in. And we're now coming up to the Nightmare Room.
Yeah, the Nightmare Room is very, very aptly named.
Yes.
And not just because it's got 6 copies of Maria in it.
Also, Willy has turned into a pig with wings, but has not been imbued with the ability to actually fly with those wings. So you have to jump across all those platforms very carefully. Like, there's only 1 pixel position on each platform where you can actually stand without the various Marias being able to get you. So, yeah, it's a tough room. And Duck actually took a bit of a shortcut in that room there by jumping right through the middle, because that shaves a fair amount of time going around all the platforms. But it's a pretty dangerous strategy, that one.
Yeah, I've not seen that one before. That was very good. This is an infamous room here.
Yes,
Yep.
the Banyan Tree.
Yeah,
So again, another one. Sorry, go on, Duck.
I was going to say, in the original release of this game, the Banyan Tree was actually impossible to climb like that. We're playing a bug fix version, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yes, but it was also, again, it's another example of a room where you need to hit a pixel perfect position to not get hit by the enemies in it.
Okay,
Now,
so I just had another death.
And this is the one which I see. I think it's the conservatory roof, though. You do have to lose one life.
Yeah, so that item on the far left, you have to die to collect.
Yeah, it's the only item in the game where you actually have to lose a life in order to get it, just because of the position that it's in. It's impossible to get that without hitting the hostile object that is next to it, which kind of looks like a pink ice lolly waving.
Yeah, I guess I see that. So the swimming pool, I don't know if you noticed, but as soon as I dropped into the room, I actually collected an item. And that's because the way items work in the game is that they will be collected by anything that's white. And normally that's fine, because the only thing that's white in most rooms is Willy himself. But in the swimming pool, the rope is also white, and so the rope collects the item for you.
It's one of the few instances of teamwork in this game. We're now in we're quite a docile part of the game. So the section between the chapel and the orangery is a pretty brutal start of the route. This is a free action game basically. So you don't have to do the rooms in a specific order. You can kind of go into them whichever way you wish. But the route that we're doing here is effectively the quickest one that we're aware of for the any percent route in terms of being able to grab all 83 of the items as quickly as possible. It's the one that has the lowest, I think, rate of duplication of routes, as far as I know. But yeah, so this section that we're in now is a bit more chill. This West Wing section, and then we've got the cold store coming up,
which is very chill.
Yeah, it's very chill. It's cooler than being cool, and yeah. But eventually, we're going to get back into some pretty narky rooms coming up soon.
Yeah, this is a really good example as well of the visual style of this game. Again, if anybody has ever seen Manic Miner with its toilets and various other interesting enemies, the imagination of the gentleman that created this, I mean, bearing in mind this was the early 1980s, is quite something.
Maybe you just had a bad experience with ice cream.
Quite possibly.
Who hasn't?
Yeah. Now we're going to start exploiting the death mechanic in this run a little bit, as much as we can. So the tool shed we have here is the first example of what we call a death warp in this game. So the way that deaths work in this game is whenever Willy loses a life, he automatically respawns at the position in which he entered the room. And what this means is that for certain rooms in the mansion where there's a kind of dead-end structure, then you can actually speed things up a lot in certain rooms by just taking a death rather than taking a long way around. And the tool shed is the best example of that in the game. You save 20 seconds on your runtime by just falling onto the item off the ledge rather than going all the way around and avoiding all the enemies. So that is the one death warp that you really want to get into your run no matter what happens. Yeah,
and so I won't be taking very many death warps because we're doing marathon safe strats, but that's one example of one that I'll always do.
Yeah, it's a brutal game, this, and it's like on an optimized run you'd want like to use all 6 of your spare lives to do death warp so you can shave time off as much as possible, but it's not easy. There's not a lot of safety nets in this game.
Yeah, so we have a quiet period. If there's any messages, this would be a good time.
Oh yes, I would like to talk away a little bit while we're still on this very chill section. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we're raising money for Alzheimerfonden. Alzheimerfonden is the Swedish national fundraising organization focusing on Alzheimer's disease and other dementia-related diseases. And their aim is to increase fundraising to the benefit of scientific research in order to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease. They also engage in various other activities related to the cause, like training for caregivers on the subject of dementia, as well as projects, camps, and events for youngsters affected in different ways due to parents or other relatives diagnosed with Alzheimer's. We believe this is something very important, and we are really happy to support this organization at ESA Summer Online. And with your help, I believe we can make some changes. We can make the world a better place for people affected by this terrible disease. And if you need some more encouragement for your donations, which have been amazing so far, so keep them coming, and thank you very much. We still have one open incentive for our event, and remember, today is the last day of the marathon. So if we meet this one, simply will show us a bonus run for Super Mario 64, and the amount that we need is quite high. It's $10,000, but we are already at 4,446, so we're getting closer and closer. And we would really need your help. So if you like Super Mario 64, consider donating and putting your money towards that incentive. And yeah, let's make it happen. This is the last day of ESA, sadly, but we can still have lots of fun. Thank you very much, and back to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So this is probably the hardest room in the game, especially the bottom section here. It's very easy to lose multiple lives just trying to get past what we call the Teletubbies. They are 4 monks who are in a very strict pattern, but luckily we managed to get by them without any issues.
Yeah, I've just seen that now. That was excellently done. Yeah, this is a really brutal section of the run. So we also had the wine cellar, which was there a couple of rooms ago now, which, again, very tough room. Lots of cycles that you need to pay attention to. A lot of 2-pixel jumps that you need to try and get. And we're coming up to, I think, the last big gatekeeper of this section of the run, which is that conveyor belt you just saw on Under the Drive, which Duck is going to tackle very shortly.
This is one example of the sort of layout in the game. You're having to actually sort of go one way and then you're having to come back. You're having to traverse the room in different directions. And there's a really, really nasty jump coming up here in Under the Drive.
Yeah, it's pixel perfect. What you need to do is you need to hit one specific jump like within about like a second and a half of being in the room. And if you do that, Willy will land on the edge of the platform.
Yeah. We got it second time, it's fine.
Excellent. But yeah, and it's a brutal one. It's not just a speedrun issue, that one. Like, basically, you have to hit that jump, otherwise...
There's no other way of doing that. It's not just a case of we're doing the hard way because it's a speedrun. No, that's the only way.
All or nothing.
All or nothing.
But we have a slightly chill section now where we go to the off license. For some reason... Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say this would be a good time to talk about the fact that this is possibly one of the first games to actually have an open world format. I don't know of any games. I don't know if Elite was released before or after this, but it's about the same time.
About the same time, I think.
Other than that, I can't think of any game from this era that allows you to just go wherever you want in the game. So
yeah, it's really cool. That's one of the things I really liked about it when I played it as a kid, is the fact that you could just go anywhere.
Yeah, so suck it, GTA.
Just to point out here that the off license here, as you can see, this is the room with the highest number of items in the whole game, which is kind of appropriate.
Yeah, you got 12 in one go. And,
yeah, no, sorry, I've yeah, I need to get. Sorry, my brain completely went there. We need to go left. I don't know why I tried to go right there.
You're checking out, just checking out the magazines.
Yeah, just.
Speaking of which, we've got the bridge coming up here now, and probably one of the most misnamed rooms in the entire game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has none of the functional requirements you'd expect from a bridge. It's basically just a river. Maybe the UFO stole it. Who knows?
Maybe the UFO is the bridge.
Yeah.
This is another room that you're just about to come back through. So you're working the way through one way, and now you're going to have to come back to get that object right at the top under the mega tree. And again, this is quite a tricky little platforming section.
Yeah, this is another. Sorry, go on.
There you go.
I was going to say, this is another one of those sections of the game, a bit like the Banyan Tree, where you're scaling the heights quite a lot. So there's a lot of rooms with big gaps that you need to negotiate. A lot of enemies quite close to each other, and there's a lot of scope for instant game over in some of the upper rooms, because whilst the death mechanic in this game means that you can speed things up, it's also a real detriment in some parts of the room, because if you fall between rooms and you fall too far, then you actually respawn falling in that same room, meaning that you end up in an infinite death loop until you get game over. So there's a lot of stuff like that that needs to be avoided.
So
in this section,
we're going to take a death warp in Cuckoo's Nest, because we're probably going to die if we do it normally. So I figure I save some time while we're at it.
Yeah, saves 10 seconds that death warp thereabouts. And yeah, also the strat for doing that without dying is pretty fiddly. Like you have to kind of hit a specific pixel position to avoid that.
Yeah, it's two pixel perfect stops, and you've only got about a quarter of a second leeway between the two. So I've only got one spare life left. Should I take the death warp?
I'd say no.
You say no?
I think it's an interesting one. The death warp in Out on a Limb looks really cool, but it doesn't actually save that much time, because you start from the right hand side of the level again, but then you're heading downwards. So
yeah.
So I wouldn't risk it.
I'm going to go for it anyway.
Oh, fantastic! Excellent.
Let's
there you are. Look at that.
Let's play it risky. So now, from this point on until the end of the game, if I die, that is it. And we've got some hard sections coming up, so it should be fun.
This is the clutch run that you all wanted.
Yeah.
Lovely little shortcut that Duck just did there, by the way. Like a lot of Set Willy players don't know about that, but you can actually drop down straight from Out on a Limb into On a Branch over the drive. And that saves about 20 seconds on your time, rather than going back through the previous rooms. So yeah,
I didn't know that one either. Fantastic.
Yeah, it says there was a mod of the game I played which had that as a specific mechanic you had to exploit. So that's the only reason I learned it. But yeah, and here we're grabbing that last item there, just in case anyone was slightly panicking that Duck had forgotten an item at the bottom of the mega tree there. He was just getting it in on the way back, because it's just slightly easier to calibrate your jumps that way.
Yep.
Security guards. Sorry.
So this is probably a good time to start talking about the many bugs that exist in the game. Because
oh yes.
When the game was first released, it was impossible to pass the Banyan Tree from the right to the top. It was impossible to collect 2 items in the game. The one in the conservatory roof and one in the first landing. First landing. And so in order to fix them, they've made the most minimal changes possible. So they've moved the first landing item right here. There. So you just saw my item count go up. And that's the first landing item moved to the hall. It's still invisible, but we can collect it now. And so that means it's fine.
Yeah, just don't jump at that section and you'll be fine.
Yeah. It's pretty difficult to dodge it, to be honest. It's and
Willy's just... Go on.
The final bug was the infamous attic bug, where there's an arrow in the attic, and we'll see it in a second, but it would not stop flying once it hit the edge of the screen, and it would actually fly through the game code and corrupt the game, and make it impossible to complete, which is not good for a released game. So they had to release a patched version.
I think the developers initially tried to spin it as being that's how hard the game actually is, that you can't complete the room without dying. And,
absolutely. They said it was a bug. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Yeah, the story I heard is that if you entered the attic, it filled the various rooms with poisonous gas that would automatically kill you. So quite creative covering up for a bug there.
Excellent work on the Priest's Hole there by Duck, by the way. So Priest's Hole is another really dangerous room, and Duck just managed to two-cycle it beautifully there. It's another one of those rooms where there's a lot of risk of instant game overs in that one. And we've also just been through the only Pink Floyd album cover in the game, which is the emergency generator.
Yep, and we're currently making our way through an elephant.
Yep,
so
actual elephant.
We've gone in through its mouth, and we won't talk about where we're coming out.
Definitely not.
We got the tusk, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
We got what we came here for.
So this is the attic. That arrow that's just flown across the screen there is the one that would not stop. But it's fixed in this case. So we can finish the game just fine.
And it's interesting because the attic is one of the easier rooms in the game, so the fact that it caused so much hassle in the original one is quite alarming. Now here we are. We've got Norman Looney here. This is actually a play on the phrase Norman Ludi, which was from a game called Zoom. And it was a game about shooting aeroplanes down. So yes, Willy actually does have a crashed aeroplane in the roof of his mansion. So if you thought the elephant was a problem,
yeah, so
there's a lot of other stuff going on.
All of the roof levels are references. This is like the pop culture reference section of the run.
Yeah, this is a reference to Hunchback, I believe, the 1984 game by Ocean. Is that correct?
Yes,
I think so. And probably the most famous room, but we're going to bypass it briefly for the Watchtower. But we'll come back to Quirker Fleeg.
We must perform a Quirker Fleeg.
Yep, you can talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Quirker Fleeg is it's from a comic strip called Fat Freddy's Cat, and it is a ritual that people do when they see dead furry animals. So if you see dead furry animals, you just have to lie on the floor and flail your limbs around a bit, and that is what a Quirker Fleeg is. Yep,
and we're going to perform a Quirker Fleeg.
Yeah, everyone perform a Quirker Fleeg right now in your house.
Right now.
Right.
I can't
set
do
out
it.
your yoga mats.
I'm speedrunning, so I think I've got an excuse.
Your Quirker Fleeg is as much as you need to, Duck.
This was one of the rooms. Certainly, I'm presuming there was others, but this was the major one that was affected by the attic bug. If you entered Quirker Fleeg under the effect of the attic bug, the game you'd end up in an infinite death loop and die immediately, pretty much.
Yeah, the poison gas just came to get you. We're coming up to the one main glitch now in this run here, which is at the top of Rescue Esmeralda there. So there is a warp that you can do by jumping through the ceiling of the room. And because of the way that the game's been mapped, if you jump through the ceiling of Rescue Esmeralda, which is at the top of the map, you actually warp back down to Ballroom East, as you've seen, which is at the bottom of the map. And we use this as part of the any % route because it saves a lot of time getting back from the top of the house. So that is the one real glitch that we actually properly exploit in this game. The one kind of optional glitch.
Yeah. So we've just reached our 83 item count. So we've collected every single item in the game. Now all we have to do is go to bed.
Excellent stuff.
Yep, time coming up fairly shortly. Do you want to explain when time is?
Well,
ruffled.
It's not quite when you go to bed. You'd think that you'd have a nice, relaxing ending to this game.
I believe the official phrase is it's when you go to commune with the Great White Telephone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So time is when Willy ends up in the toilet.
Yeah. So time's going up in about 10 seconds.
The writer of this game obviously had personal experience of this particular event here.
And time. So, yep, you spend all that time tidying the house, trying to go to bed, and of course, the instant you try to go to bed, you need the toilet.
Never been more relieved.
Never been more relieved. Yep, it's a story as old as time.
GG there, Duck. Lovely work.
Yep.
GG.
So thanks for watching, everyone. Shout outs to Ruffled Bricks and Tiny Tim. They both run the Minor Willy series, and you check them out as well as me. We also have a Discord for speedrunning Spectrum games. You can find that either on my Twitch profile or on the speedrun page for this game.
Yeah, we want to get more Spectrum speedrunners involved. So
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely check it out.
We won't stop until every single game at ESA is a Spectrum game.
There's so many forgotten classics. We definitely need more representation there.
You'll see. You'll all see.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a very mighty cause, I have to say. Thank you very, very much for showing this highly enjoyable game. It was really fun, and I hope our viewers have enjoyed it as well. Thank you for providing fantastic commentary. I've learned a lot about that time, that era. Yeah, thank you for submitting and showing it here. We'll be going on a short intermission unless there's something else that you would like to say or maybe thank someone else.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes, thank you very much.
I hope you all know how to play a Quirk of League, how to perform a Quirk of League now.
And if we don't remember, we'll ask you.
Well, don't ask me,
All
I don't know
right.
either.
Oh, no.
I'm on speed dial.
Okay, our next game is Contra by the Mexican runner himself. So we'll be back very shortly. Stay tuned, keep watching, and don't go anywhere. Thank you.